Welcome to Trading Lounge and the global indices and starting with the S&P 500. I'm just going to spend a little bit of time on the S&P because I'd like to spend a bit more time on some other markets, but I'll come back to the S&P. So in a nutshell, we are in wave 4. We know that out of the dozen different types of corrections that we get with Elliott wave, they'll all end up in wave 4. We know wave 4s can get complicated. We know that we need to be a bit patient to find a solution, and we just need to be a little bit careful. So one of the things that we've been looking at is from wave 2 here to top of wave 3, the 38.2% retracement level is down at the previous wave of 1 lesser degree. So we're still a long way from that particular point. Okay, so that's one thing that we need to bear in mind. Now, I understand that we can put wave 4 in here being completed. None of the other wave 4s have pulled back to their 38.2%, so maybe we don't need to pull back to the 38.2%, maybe the 23.6 is fine. Now, the other point with this is that could we also view this here as an A wave here, a B wave here, and a C wave over here for this? Now, there is a good case for this particular pattern, and the reason for that really comes from, well, I suppose we could look at, I mean, it's not a very strong market, but this is the FTSE here, right? We know that this particular pattern is to the upside is, well, you could probably get an impulse wave out of it, but the problem is it's better viewed as a corrective pattern, and the move down here is more like an impulse wave. So the normal thing would be to take this low out here. So this here can be wave 1 and 2 here, rallying with the rest of the markets, and then have 3, 4, and 5 coming down here. Because it is corrective here, it hasn't really taken the low out here, and a bigger market would be the DAX, but it's a little bit more complicated too. The DAX has been complicated for a little while, so that could also push up here and come back as well. So we'll talk about this shortly, but the whole move up here for the DAX can be counted in different ways. I've just pegged it to the S&P 500. Be that right, be that wrong. It's not here nor there at the moment. So we'll come back to these, but I'm just pointing out that some of these markets need to come down further. Okay, so that's in the back of my mind. So I'll just move these for a while. So when we come to we'll just move in here to the intraday here for a moment. So the intraday can have the S&P 500 in this move here with the A wave, B wave, and C wave here, a little bit short on the C wave. So the other possibility is that we rally back up 50 or 60%, and then we have wave C down here. I always thought 4-4 was a reasonable place to pull back to, but anything is possible. Nothing's too high, nothing's too low. It is a bit of a tricky situation for this. Now, one of the things that we should take on board as well is what drives these particular markets. There's obviously the US is full of sectors. We know that the tech sector is really quite big on all of this. But this particular pattern here, I find it interesting, and we're talking about this with the stocks this morning as well. We've talked about it before. This is Goldilocks here, Goldman Sachs. And in its correction here, it's quite interesting because we've got the A wave, the B wave, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I could put wave 4 here and be completed, or put one here and have one more little move down, but we're quite close to this. So what we're looking for here is a nice, something substantial, a nice impulse wave to the upside to look at this. But this particular pattern here is very common throughout the markets. And yes, it could get more bearish. We could have a wave 4 here, instance, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 down here for the A wave, and then a B wave over here, and then a C wave down here to finish it off, So it just becomes a bit bigger. There's a whole variety of things that can occur, and it makes wave 4s very tricky. But at the same time, you can look at all of these sorts of scenarios, and then you've got to kind of narrow it down and man up and take a shot at it at the end of the day. So we look at the stocks that are possibly leading to the upside, and one of them that comes to mind here is Nvidia. So with Nvidia, it's also got that same pattern as Goldman's. It started a bit earlier, but in this instance here, I won't go into a lot of detail, but from the low here, we've got 1, 2 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third, fourth, and the fifth wave here. So in this case, we've got, this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the close here. So this is either going to be up for wave 1 or wave 1 or wave A here. I would say that wave 1 would be more dominant in this particular instant, and the reason that I would say that is because from the, doesn't look quite right, maybe that's just from there. Let me just double check from this for a moment. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't look quite right. So that's interesting because I'm getting 5 waves to the 61.8% here at the 450. So that means it's going to pull back and then it's going to push up again. So that's going to take it past the 61.8%. So it's highly likely in this case that we've got wave one up here. Well, in fact, we could even just remove that and put this one over here, at least for this. I think this could be a smaller wave 4 here of this degree, but this is telling me that we get 5 here, a correction, we get another 5 up. So to me, that tells me that we're bullish from this with this ABC pattern here. So that's kind of interesting in terms of a bullish, presenting a bullish case, because you know what's driving these markets. And the other thing here too, there's 2 other points that I'd like to make here. One of them is Amazon. So it's got a slightly different pattern in that we've got 1 and 2 here and 3 here and 4 here. So we're actually going up for the 5th wave now. Now, I don't have a nice clean count for the 5 waves up here just yet, but it's looking quite good at this particular point. Now, the other one that's the same pattern as this is Google. So with Google here, we've got long trades in both of these markets, but wave 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, 4 here, and we're going up for this move here to make wave 5 up here. How far that extends up there, we just count the waves and we'll see how we go with it. But that's the bullish case for the markets. Now, I could show other stocks, but the trouble with other stocks, it's they've had hard hits to the downside. So like Apple is one of them that's come down in the same pattern but been sold off. I mean, you know, it's been a bit, you know, everybody's been onto this, and obviously there's some profit taking coming in here, but off the lows here, this is very much like the S&P 500 here. So what I was sort of thinking in this particular case is, do we get 5 waves up here? So we've got this little wave 1 and 2 here, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 for third, fourth, fifth, for the third, the fourth. So if we get wave 1 up here and wave 2 here, then I can confirm that we're going to be going higher at that point, and we're going to be long over at this point. So with the S&P, not so much the S&P, but the SPY here has got the same count as I need to put this up a little bit here, but this is the same count coming on this is the SPY here, the SPY. So we're also looking for wave 1 and wave 2 up here. If we get that, which we probably will, then we can look to go long on the S&P. But that's the trick, you know, this wave 1 could just be the A wave and the B wave. So what I mean by that, removing these away now and removing this one away, is that this could just be the A wave here with the B wave here, and this B wave here, with that first 5 waves we looked at with Apple and the SPY just then, is this one here and this one here and then this one here, and then we come down at that point, and that would satisfy the DAX, the FTSE, even the Australian market to a point. So is that what's true, what's not? I don't know. I'm just looking at everything. What we can do is we can go long on this. Once we get 5 waves up here and we get the pullback, we can buy the pullback based on those 5 waves, and we can trade up. Now, we may get lucky and we may not. We get up to the next 5 waves, we can either get out and wait for the next setup and then go long after that if that's going to give it to us. But it could also pull back into this space. So that's the situation, guys. That's what I don't know at this point in a nutshell. Okay, so there's a good case for higher ground, yeah. So this is the Nasdaq here. And the Nasdaq here has got the problem with a lot of stocks, if you're counting them, is that this little wave 4 here has reached up quite high and overlapped wave 1, and that's come from the stocks. Now that's also created a lot of problems with the S&P 500 here as well. You see all of this here, how it's all bunched up here, this move from here to all of this here. It doesn't count very well down here, but when you look at the S&P here, there's just the Nasdaq is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then wave 4. So there's 2 overlaps in here, and this would be the same for the triple Q as well, but not so much. You see how it's got a better flow here? It's still overlapped. This one's overlapped this one, and this one's overlapped this one, but it does present a case for being a low in here for this. But then again, you have a look at the tech sector, which is the XLK here, and there's not a problem here at all. It's just all of this here doesn't overlap and it's perfect. So we can call a low in for the tech sector here with an ABC pattern. Do we get a wave 4 here? I don't think so. And the reason for that is because the move down here, in this case, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you could count it as wave 1 here. But on Apple, it's actually an ABC down here on Apple. So Apple's not going to have a wave 4 here. So, yeah, so there's a good case of having a low. The only other side is that putting a B wave over here as an A and a B and a C and then coming down again. It's just the nature of wave 4s, you know, it's just the way the cookie crumbles, I'm afraid. But anyway, it's interesting just to talk about this here where, you know, in some markets, there's not a problem with this overlap here. But in some markets, there is, especially in the S&P here. You know, should we ignore that and just, you know, that's why I was just putting the A wave here, and I can view this in different ways. I could put this, yeah, we're going to have a look at this a little bit later, this one. So yeah, anyway, this is the Nasdaq here, and yeah, it's showing impulsive structures here, so we can also have a low in for that. And this is the Russell, so the same thing again here as well. We could call in this here with an A and a B and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here coming down. It's either that or we've got to put wave B over here for this as well. So that's the situation. We're getting an impulse wave here. It will be the same as the SPY that we just looked at, and Apple and those sort of things. So it's a little bit more. Don't think that you're missing out, and don't go chasing it, because this will go up here somewhere and it'll come back and check that trend, you know. And in that trend that it checks it, then, you know, you can take the B wave out. But if it moves up too much higher, it's going to be 5 waves up here, so you can buy the pullback and get a better price. But this is just the ETF here because it's running a little bit smoother. So I do believe you can, once this finishes up here, and we'll look at this tomorrow, and we've got the Feds having their powwow tomorrow. So we'll see what comes out of that. It's 2 o'clock ET time, so yeah, we'll see this come up. It's going to get quite volatile, this pullback, and a bit ugly at that 2 o'clock tomorrow. So once the dust settles a little bit, we'll hopefully pick it up and we can move along a little bit. It's not going to be easy at that point. So this brings us up to the FTSE and the DAX, but I'm going to put the FTSE there and the DAX there for a moment, and just want to come back to the S&P here. So one of the things here that we talked about, well, I think we talked about it, is that if we get support on the 4,500, then we can look to go long at that point. But like I said, what the issue is that the move up here can be part of a B wave. We haven't pulled back to the 38.2% retracement level. We don't have to, And normally across the level, because it didn't stop here, the distance above here is normally the distance below. It can go at this point, but that would bring me close to a bit closer to that 4.4 at that point. You know, that's what I was sort of considering at that point, but anything is possible. So anyway, on this area here, if we get a classic trading levels pattern like this, we need to be long. So imagine this is the 4,500 or the 450 on the SPY, and we're waiting for the first high above the level. So we know that with the SPY, that we are tracking a little 5 waves to the upside at the moment. Just trying to find that chart while I'm talking here. So this is the SPY here. This is the 4,000 or the 4,500 or the 4.5 here. So what we want is we want that little first high above the level. So you may not be able to get the wave count happening properly, but that's okay. We're still looking for that first high and then just let it drop at that point. Now we'll get the first high, second high, and the third high over here. So just coming back to this for a moment where I can draw on this. So we're going to get something like this here. There'll be good support coming in around this area here for that. So, and then that'll push up at that point. So if you can count if you can count 5 waves there and you're happy with those 5 waves, then you could buy the A, the B, the C pullback here into this space here. If not, then you'll have to take the top of the B wave out and move on. And that taking that B wave out here will tell you that the 4,500 or the 450 in this case is the tested support. And also too, with both of these markets, the 450 will have group 1 here, which is the 53. So you want to look for a classic trading levels pattern on top of that, because once you've got support on top of that number 3, then you're leaving the 450 here and you'll be pulled up into the 4.5 here, and you'll see that in the market depth if you look at it, and then the 8 of course, and the 65s in here and so on. But what you want to do is, once this is, if you buy here, if you can get one small position under here and then start to build at least 3 positions through here, especially once that there becomes the tested support. But anyway, we'll talk about that tomorrow, because the time we get tomorrow will probably be somewhere around here anyway. So so that will be the same here as well. So in a nutshell, we're looking for the first high above the level, like these little spikes here, you know. And then you can go long above there, and the same here, group 1, 10, 20, and 30 in here for all of that. So yeah, so the DAX, this count here that I've got is, be it right, be it wrong. I can see it could be counted in different, all of this could be counted in different ways. The DAX has been a bit messy, and the DAX took off first in the early days where the S&P and the Nasdaq had lots of troubles, and then it's slowed down and it's created a lot of quite complicated patterns all the way through this little area through here. It's struggling here. You know, it is at its old highs over here. To me, double tops are never well, not my words, but WD Gann, double tops are never the end of the trend. So I don't see this as the end of the trend. I see that it's going to struggle through here as we expected it to, and it has. And, you know, it's starting to get a bit volatile now in these swings here. So the question is, do we go, it's the same as the S&P and the others, do we go straight up from here, or do we have this wave 4 pulling back to this wave 4 here? That's the gist of it all. I'm going to go into the intraday here. So we'll take a look at this. There's different ways to count this. I can put 5 waves to this point here. So from the top here, I can count down 5 waves to this particular point. You could probably bring the 5 waves and put them over here. The other point with this is that you can also bring this 5 waves to here. You could put the B wave here and you could put the C wave here, and that's the low in the market at the moment, and then we'd look at this as wave 1 and wave 2 here. That's possible. It's just that the FTSE needs to come down a bit further at this point. So is this correct? It's possible, but it's probably not. So the other side of the coin here is that we'll just need some little ABC patterns here from things here. So bear with me a second. So anyway, this is if this was the case, right, we'll just carry this out here, then what I would say is that if this was going to be true, then as 1 and 2 here, then this 1 and 2 here, we would need to see 3, 4, and 5 at this point. And then anything above these 5 waves here, then we could be bullish at that point. Then there would be bullish at that point. But we just got to be careful we don't come down here first, you know. I'm just going to remove these for a moment and look at this in a slightly different way with this B wave over here. And yeah, the only way I'll know is that we can go long above this B wave here. So we're just going to need a little bit of patience for this. I mean, you can go long now, you know, we're going to be going up there for a little bit. So scalpers and intraday traders, they can go for that at the moment. So they're the 2 counts actually. Sorry, I'm just thinking. I know I should be entertaining you, but yeah. So that's it really at this point. So I think that before I call the trade in here, is that we'll track these 5 waves up, and anything above that we can go long on. But you can go long here now. You just need to keep the stop under this low here. And like I said, with the FTSE, the problem with the FTSE is that that this particular move here, this one is impulsive and this one is corrective. So it's probably that we'll see the markets rally, but the FTSE won't rally very much. I mean, it will move up, but it won't rally that much. So we can expect the FTSE to, there's a couple of different ways to count this little move here, but let's just, if the other markets are going to push up, then this is going to push up as well here. So let's see how it goes, but that would be it. So 7565, so that's actually the beginning of a group 2 area there, so that's good. So this is what could happen here for this. I mean, I just couldn't go long based on this move here, you know. It's also possible to count it down that it you know, comes down here a bit further in this case. But I won't go into that particular count because I can see that the S&P and all that needs to push up. So this is likely to push up here as well in all of this. So we'll just see tomorrow what it delivers at this point, and then we'll go in and have a look at the 100 ticks and all the rest of it, because I've got that counted a bit differently, where that just rallies back up into this other high here and comes down. But I just don't see any trades here for this yet, you know. So we'll just chill on that, and that brings us over to the Australian market. And so in a nutshell, I thought that we would be going back up to this particular wave 4 here, and then dropping down here for one more move there. And one of the reasons for that is, just bear with me here for a second while I just get this into the fold here. It's not that the DAX we're looking at, we're going to look at the Australian market, which is this one. So I was counting it down from this little top here, and it's also interesting as well, isn't it? We'll just check on those tops there. So this here, this is the cash market, of course. So here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here for wave 1, and then wave 2 here, and then wave 1 here, and going back for wave 2, and then 1 and 2 in here, and 3, 4, 5 for the third wave here. So the overnight market, the futures, has already moved down here for this wave 3, and is moving up here for this wave 4 here. So this is kind of where we are at the moment with this, and then we'll still need wave 5 down here. I think that's the best count. I mean, it's such a nice wave 3 here of 1, 2, 1, 2. It's just a lot nice and big, you know what I mean? It's got good form to it and all the rest of it. So I still think we need to make new lows down here. That's my sort of reasoning. So the futures market is over here at the moment, needs to push up a little bit further. So this is it here. It's probably not the best count when you come over to this CFD product here, looking at this. But that's what I'm sort of thinking. It'll probably end up giving us 5 waves up here, and but in that case, I wouldn't. I mean, obviously, you'd want to be long rather than short. We couldn't really go long unless we were on top of this level over here. I mean, to turn bullish, you know. But we'll see what delivers here. I mean, the rest of the markets around the world, I mean, we've got little 5 waves here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, this is where the trade was really, you know, coming out of those 5 waves here. But now we're in the next set here, which is probably wave 3 in its own little way, you know, and then 4 and 5 here. The other markets around the world are going to kind of do this and this. But I want to see what it is first, because we've got the situation where we've got, just go to the daily chart here for a moment. We've got 2 counts in the bigger picture. One of them is this one here. This is a little bit of a complicated pattern here, but so we've got one situation that brings us down here into wave C here, and then into as C, D, and E here, and then a move up here, because this is being squashed between the resources and the finance sector. So, but the stochastics are quite low here, so there's a good chance that we can push up, and to push up, we know that the positive count, the bullish count, is this one here. So this is with wave 1 here and coming back for wave 2. Into the 72. Now, this is the same pattern as the FTSE that we just mentioned, you know, and the FTSE and this market have got the same patterns at this particular point in time. So this is this pattern here with the FTSE. So I'm looking at this being a corrective pattern. We need to come down here further as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know. So that's what I was thinking here. Do we, you know, do I need to look at this as 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 here? Is that what we're looking at here? Or can we just have one more little wave down here and finish off? So not quite there just yet, but if the US markets are going to push up, you know, do we look at that being sort of truncated on the cash market at this point. It's a bit tricky, actually. I'm not quite sure the best way to view this situation. So this is, yeah, just in sort of cleaner language here. I mean, maybe, is that, yeah, it has taken the low out here. I mean, it could suffice. I mean, it's a bit tricky counting this down here. Maybe we could put that in here. I think what I'll still wait for as well is I need to see a nice impulse wave up here. So tomorrow we'll see what we've got at that point. There's plenty of space, plenty of time for things. I mean, if this is wave one here, by the way, we're going to be going much higher up here. So it's not such a big deal. We just got to get it right and and build it and build into it. The banks are in a bullish. If I go back to Goldman's here for a while, if this is correct, and we've got an A and a B and a C down here, this will be the same for the other banks out there, and so that means that this correction is finished. And if the US banks are going to push up, then our Australian banks are going to push up, and our ASX is dominated by the finance sector side of things. So that means that we would push up as well here. So because we're above the 100, if we're below the 100, we'll look for short trades, and if we're above the 100, we'll look for long trades. That helps. Now, this could be counted a bit differently here. I could put, wave one and two here, and 1 and 2 here as well. But it is showing signs of strength to the upside. I can look at this top here as wave 1 and 2 here, or wave 4. It does sort of show a bit of an impulse wave down here, so I'm a bit concerned about that. But apart from that, this top here, you can go long above that top, and I'll put that in green here. Because we do have a little 5-wave move up here. So this is very helpful for the ASX 200. I mean, for this move to be 5 waves down here, it's already moved back up to supply levels and hit it twice. So any move above that would be positive at that side. So you can go long above 105 on CommBank, and that would also send up the ASX 200 as well. And this is Goldman's here coming to the end of its correction, and Bank of America will be the same, and so on. So we're down here, so we're close. Do you know what I mean? But we're now we've been through all of this. Now we've got to kind of gather the evidence to suggest that we can go up from this point. So what we'll look for is that little 5-wave structure that we were looking for on the SPY, and with Apple, that little 5 waves here will play out here, and you'll be able to do that. We could look at that as 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 5 up here, and then there's going to be some sort of ABC back here, and then you can look to go along at that point. So we'll see how far that gets us, but we'll have to manage that risk. Alrighty, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.